And now, welcome to the Patriot Pulse podcast.
Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, August 5th, and this is episode 271 of the Patriot Pulse podcast and simulcasting to our Two Guys Drinking Coffee Facebook page as well. So welcome, everyone. Fred, how are you doing today? Good morning, my friend.
Doing well.
Doing well? Are you ready to be politically incorrect?
Yes. I usually am.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about. My title, I always title my notes, and my title this week was I Am Politically Incorrect and I Like It. So it's time to be politically incorrect. And we got people jumping on this morning already. Kelly, good morning. And Diane, good morning. Good to see you on here. And we got Mick. Hey, Mick, how you doing? So, all right. So let's, before we get into the podcast and before we get politically incorrect, let's do a little housekeeping as we always do. We're trying to get out, but all the platforms still shadow ban us. So if you can help us out by clicking like or share, or if you're on Rumble, subscribe, any way you can help us get the word out there, I'd appreciate it, because we are shadow banned. That has not stopped. Even on X, it hasn't stopped. So people don't find us organically. You got to go searching for us. So sometimes it helps if you can help us do that by sharing and liking and all that stuff. Okay, before we get into, let's do a little bit of business with America to help us pay the bills and keep this podcast on the air.
Need to get your brand noticed, remembered, and loved? At Everything Printed Promo, we turn your logo into walking, talking, shareable billboards. Whatever the occasion, we make you look amazing every time. Pens, shirts, drinkware, tech gadgets, you dream it, we print it perfectly. Visit everythingprintedpromo.com or call 888-619-9286 today. First-time customers get 15% off. Let's make your brand unforgettable.
Hey, Fred, did you know that the term politically incorrect actually began with Marxism? The communists? That idea and that phrase politically correct originated in early to mid 20th century Marxist and communist political circles. And it actually meant strict adherence to official party line or current ideological orthodoxy. I mean, that's a definition for it. So what the communists meant was to keep people only talking about officially approved things, became a social thing where if the PC police didn't like what you were saying, you would be censored or whatever, like we are. But that shouldn't surprise anyone, because that modern term is used today to censor and silence voices that don't adhere to the leftist progressive model of the world. And I won't even say, conservative versus liberal, Republican versus Democrat. It's just all the woke crap in the world. They're the ones that have the PC police,
right,
and control. It may make us feel guilty. Of course, nobody can make me feel guilty. I think I'm immune to that. But they try to make people feel guilty and control them that way. But in this episode, if you're ready, in this episode of Patriot Pulse, we're going to do everything we can to blow the lid off political correctness. Okay. So as my first topic says there, screw the PC police. It's got out of hand. So I came up with a lot of, and you've seen the notes here, Fred, but I've come up with a lot of examples in how they try to control our speech. And I'm assuming you're watching the comments there, Fred, because I got
a lot of good mornings, a lot of political correct, nothing major yet.
Okay, all right. So first of all, let's take this one on right away. The whole trans, I won't even call it a debate. It's the pushing of the trans agenda. Because in my opinion, and Fred, you jump in, or if anybody wants to comment, Fred will read it to you as well, or read it to us, or I'll put it on the screen if you want me to. In my opinion, that the trans, and excuse my air fingers quotes here, trend is nothing but mental illness.
100%.
Okay, mental illness. I mean, if you're a guy, God made you a guy, and you don't have to sit down to pee. You're a guy, okay? All right, let's just face it, you are. And I think any parent or any person in authority over children, I'm talking teachers here now, or anybody that has authority over children at one point or another during their day, if they're promoting that trans ideology, I think they're guilty of child abuse.
Yep. 100%. I mean, think about it. Transing is something changing from one thing to another. Half of them are not changing from anything to anything. They're just putting on a dress, or wearing men's pants, or you're not really transing. You're calling yourself transing. When I put a seed in the ground, it's transforming from a seed to a plant. You're not doing that.
Well, let's even the ones that go so far, and I feel so bad that some young ladies that were pushed into the whole trans agenda by their woke parents or by their teachers or whatever. Young ladies that had early on double mastectomies, they went and had their body manipulated. They're finding out now as they mature that was a mistake. I can't remember if it was Barbie or it's just a doll, a generic doll.
There's a doll that came out, that you can change the parts on.
Yes. Interchangeable. All right. First of all, let me say this. When I was a kid, a million years ago, when I was a kid, and you had your G.I. Joe or you had your Barbie doll if you were a girl, and you were changing their clothes. If you put G.I. Joe into his fatigues, there was nothing in that
at all.
Okay.
He was a eunuch.
Now you're going to put a doll in a child's hands, a little child that has interchangeable genitals.
Right.
Tell me how this is not mental illness.
It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, come on. Let's just get oh my goodness. And the funny thing is, the percentage of people who are like this are way under the amount of people who actually believe the opposite of this mental disease that's going on. Yet they still control people of power. Yeah. It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, here's a comment from Tom. You're right in that there is a saying, and I'll probably get this wrong. Tough times make strong men make good times make weak men make tough times.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're in that stage of weak men. Right. Tom, I think you're probably at the beginning of the boomer era that I'm in. I'm smack dab in the middle of the baby boomers.
Right.
But we had tough people that precede our parents, grew up in the Depression era and so on, and that was tough, and they worked their way out, and they made tough people in those areas, and then it became good. Our generation grew up in a good time.
Most of this crap started in public school. Let me where it started. First they started getting rid of things out of school that were important, like shop, PE. All these things are not even required anymore. You know why? The presidential challenge. Now, I'm not saying Trump challenge, so you people don't go TDS on me. But the presidential challenge was there. It was just to make boys tough. But we removed all that stuff. Now you don't have to participate in anything because, see, America used to be very tough. Yeah. Men were tough. Boys did things that boys did that make them tough. Now we do nothing.
Yeah. But I guess that's where I was going with that, is that I think we have gone through the cycle now, and we've got a lot of parents of school age kids now that grew up in that weakened area and became all woke and became influenced with social media and became easily influenced by media in general.
Right.
And just we were talking off camera, Fred. Just think of all the garbage that's on TV right now.
Terrible.
Telling people that they can do anything they want, and anything with their body they want. They can sleep with whoever they want. They put it on TV and glorify it. In celebrities, it probably still is, but during the height of this whole trans thing, it was very chic to have a trans kid if you were a celebrity. Tell me that's not child abuse.
Yeah.
So
true.
So anyway,
even in our era, they had these thing called tomboys, but those girls turned out to be normal as they got older. But now, if you pretend to be if you come out as a tomboy, they instantly say, the teachers will instantly influence you that you're not a woman, you're a man.
Yeah. And here's a comment from Diane, and I agree with you 100%, Diane.
True.
When you take morality, and it's not just prayer, it's the whole concept of morality.
True.
When we said no, you can't pray in schools, or no, what you were in essence saying that no, moral influence can't be in schools anymore. Okay, so I think that started it, but it just fell apart from there. There's no morals in school whatsoever anymore.
None.
And I'll tell you what, unfortunately, I don't think younger parents today, and I'm not saying this as a general term, so I'm sure, I know there are and I'll even go as far as to say there are Christian parents that grew up in very moral Christian homes that are carrying the tradition, because I see in my own church young people that are coming in here and they're being raised right, and they're being raised to respect people, and they're being raised morally. So this is not painting with a broad stroke, but a lot of, let's put it this way, if it wasn't out there, it wouldn't be a problem right now. But there's a lot of woke individuals that are morally bankrupt, and they're raising kids.
Yeah, Tom's right too with his statement about the Muslim prayer. They demand it and they get it. We don't get anything we demand. Think about it.
We talked about that. I think we even mentioned it in last week or the week before. Last week when we had the kids on.
True.
I asked them if they thought there was a double standard, in the world, in the media, in other words, Muslims are allowed to, we gotta pussyfoot around, walk on eggshells, not to offend Muslims, but yet they come in, take over communities, take over everything, and demand that well, in New York City, aren't they broadcasting over those loudspeakers around the city?
All over the
call to prayer 5 times a week. I heard.
Yeah, 5 times a day. Yeah,
5 times a day. Yeah. So, how is that being a separation of church and state? If you want to use that term, which I don't agree with, it's not separation of church and state. It's basically a guarantee to be able to practice your own religion, but it doesn't mean you force it on the public. And what the Muslims are doing is forcing it on the public. So
yeah.
So you want to go into to kind of segue into from that trans agenda. I know people that are LGBTQRXYZ, whatever. But I think I'm just going to come out and say it, Fred. The whole LGBTQ plus, et cetera, is a sin. It's anti-biblical, and will land you on the wrong side of eternity.
True.
I said it.
Yep.
So,
yep. And personally, I think the whole political correct thing was started to keep people in a line so that they didn't deviate from anything that they wanted you to talk about.
Yeah. It's, again, it comes down to that morality.
Yep.
If I had a person tell me they happened to be gay, that there is the 10 commandments, how they put it, the 10 commandments don't say anything about being gay. Okay. All right. Maybe they didn't. Maybe the 10 commandments didn't. But I'll tell you what, I think you can look through the rest of that book and find a whole bunch of stuff that condemns homosexuality. And it it's like that cherry picking the Bible. I had a pastor that left the area. He was a pastor of the church I went to. And he said something to me that I never thought of before, and it kind of woke me up at the time. He says, listen, he says, you either, if you're going to be a Bible believing Christian, you either have to believe that the Bible is God's word, spoken through the writers, but God's word, it's God ordained, and it's 100% truth from Genesis to Revelation. Or you don't believe any of it. Because to say, okay, I believe this part, but I don't believe this part, well, then that opens the thing up to debate on the whole Bible, and then the whole thing falls apart.
Right. True.
So if you think you can pick and choose what is right or what is wrong in the Bible, you're deluding yourself.
Yeah, Tom and Diane both hit on television, and it's true. Tom hit on the fact that the television became our babysitters, and TV shows made premarital sex normal. So that's where some of that started the breakdown of the moral part of our country.
Yeah, Tom has the fruitcakes. There you go, fruitcakes. I like that. So yeah, and I was thinking, West Side Story. Who likes the movie West Side Story? I liked it. I watched it several times. I never saw it in the Broadway production, but I watched it on TV. And Natalie Wood sings that song. I'm so pretty. I'm so pretty. I'm so pretty.
Yeah.
I'm so pretty and witty and gay. Forgive my singing. I have, but anyways, you're right, Tom. Gay, and I'll tell you what. Does it bother anybody else? It bothers the crap out of me. And my wife says, "Let it go, Jim. Let it go," because we'll be watching TV and commercials now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was bad enough when sitcoms and other shows started bringing gay people in, but how about commercials now that are showing gay couples, two guys together, two women together, gay couples in their commercials. They are normalizing the thing because it's their agenda to get everybody believing as they do, and quite frankly, to me, it's always been a personal opinion. What you do, in other words, I'll speak out and I'll tell people what I think if the opportunity presents itself.
Right.
What people do behind closed doors in their own home is up to them.
I agree with you. That's your own choice, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to stand before God, not me.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
Yourself.
Exactly. But it's their choice. But what they've done is they've thrown it in our face. They say again, they meaning the politically correct, the LGBTQ, RXYZ, the trans communities and all that, throw it in our face and says, you have to accept us. You have to accept our lifestyle as normal. And why don't we throw we'll put Christianity back in their face and say, no, I'm going to throw this in your face and tell you that it's not normal and we're the normal people. Right. But you're not allowed to do that when you're being politically correct. You're not allowed to do that. You're only forced to accept their warped version of reality.
And I agree with Tom. I stopped watching regular TV a long time ago. Streaming used to be safe, but now they're even starting to get dirty with the streaming, because now they're starting to even put those ads on streaming TV. So if you want to stream something without all the garbage commercials, it's even starting to get put on there. And what's even worse is movie theaters have taken it to another level too. You go to watch a good Christian movie and they got to throw a crap advertisement right in the middle of it every single time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, even on, how about and I don't get into this, but every once in a while you'll see them on TV. Those Hallmark movies, and they're especially the Christmas movies, corny as heck. I mean, but
you already know the ending before it starts.
What's that?
You already know the ending before it starts.
Yeah. They're so predictable, but they were always intended to be wholesome. In other words, boy or girl comes into town, they've got some backstory that they're so sad or something happened or they're whatever, or they meet an old flame from high school and rekindle the romance, and then something comes in to spoil it, and it almost breaks them up, and at the end, they're happily ever after, they're kissing and making up and everything, the whole world is fine. Exactly. Now, even on the Hallmark movies that were always based on wholesome American ideals, have gay couples on them.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
When I see that, I'll either leave the room if my wife is watching something. I'll leave the room, or if it just happens to be on, I'll switch the channel or turn the TV off, because I don't want to be forced to watch gay people on TV. I don't want to be forced to accept gay people. Mm-hmm. I know the Bible tells me I'm supposed to love everyone, love my enemies, and it's an agape love. It's not agreeing with their lifestyle, but it's saying because God cares about you, I care about you. But you also got to say, I care about you enough that not only do I care about you in this life, I care about you in the next life. And mm-hmm. Therefore, if I'm really following my Christian faith, then I've got to point it out. Shouldn't I? I mean, you tell me.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, you can tell them. This is the way I see it. I watched a video once where this guy showed this depiction of people going to heaven, and they said, well, none of my friends ever told me about God. Well, if I tell you, at least I told you. And if you chose to ignore it when you get there on that day, at least I told you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can, when we go stand before the judgment seat, we can at least say we tried. We tried to tell people right from wrong. We tried to promote biblical Christian values, but I mean, even in the end, we're all sinners. We all fall short.
Yeah, we all do. Yeah, mm-hmm.
And that's why we claim the blood of Jesus Christ that gets us into heaven. Mm-hmm. we all have our shortcomings. I understand that, and that's another thing they'll throw in your face. Well, let you without sin cast the first stone. Well, you're right. I admit, I sin too, and I need a savior. But at the same time, it's just like when Jesus told the woman that was almost going to be stoned that neither he condemned her, but then he said, go and sin no more.
Go and sin no more. That's the key part in that whole story.
Right. So if
Diane
you,
said best. You love the sinners, just hate the sin.
yeah. So anyway, so that we probably beat that one up enough. But yeah, that politically incorrect. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel about it. And since this is our podcast, we can say it.
Right.
So, all right, let's talk about let's get into the whole segue into immigration, illegal immigration, and the whole Muslim problem. Do you remember several weeks ago we had an episode called "The Muslim Problem in America"?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's politically incorrect to do that. You know, you're being is what do they call it? Islamophobic.
Anyway,
It's,
can't be Islamophobic to how can you, it's a religion. It's not necessarily a religion. It's an idea. So how's it? How are you being phobic to it?
yeah. So I think the whole Muslim ideology is incompatible with Western society, Western culture, because for a couple reasons. Number one, Sharia law is antithetical to the U.S. Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the Muslim ideology, and I won't call it a religion, the Muslim ideology,
Right.
Says that you have to do, you have to put Allah up there. You can't do this. You got to pray five. You got to do all this stuff. And there, the last prophet was Muhammad, and Allah is the only thing. And anything other than that is, if anybody other than that is an infidel.
Right.
Okay. Anybody that's not a Muslim is an infidel.
That means all of America, by the way.
And what does a Muslim, and I'll let you answer this, Fred, what does the Muslim faith tell you is supposed to do to infidels?
Kill them.
Either kill them or
Behead them.
Or take, you can take all their property and make them a slave.
Exactly.
Or in the Muslim countries, you can force them to pay a tax. I can't remember the
I
Arabic
did hear about
word
the tax,
for it.
yeah.
But in order to live, you got to pay a coercion, or I mean, not coercion, but don't know what the word is I'm trying to use, but you got to pay a tax. They call it a tax. So how is that compatible with the U.S. Constitution?
It's not compatible at all.
So
you guys don't remember when they caught our soldiers and they had them in the orange suit, and one by one they asked each one of them to give up their faith, their Christianity, and as they beheaded all of them one at a time. Yeah,
they did it. I didn't watch it, but I know they aired it on.
Mm-hmm.
They live streamed it for people to see.
Exactly.
But we know what they did. Well, let's see what Tom has to say here. World's melting pot. You're right. But your key there is assimilate.
Exactly.
They don't, and I'll go to the whole illegal immigration agenda as well. We'll open up that can of worms as well, because my grandfather and my grandmother on my mother's side came over from Italy in the early 1900s, 1918, something like that. But they came over, they assimilated, they raised their children as Americans. Their children had to learn English. They learned English. They got my grandfather had a shoe shop on East Main Street here in Bradford. He was a shoemaker and shoe repair. And he assimilated. He didn't lose his Italian heritage.
No.
But he became American. And when you refuse to assimilate, then you have then what you're doing is you're saying, I want to come to America, but I want to bring my country with me to make America like my country. So if you're coming to this country and leaving another country because you didn't like the other country you were leaving,
mm-hmm.
Why in the heck do you want to bring that other country with you?
Right. That's the truth. That's 100% the truth. That's the part that I hit on a lot of people. If America's so awful, why is everybody trying to get here?
Well,
Come
could
on,
it
now,
be
let's
that?
wake up.
Could it be that
It's
instead of immigration, it's invasion?
Mm-hmm.
Especially, and here I'm going to be politically incorrect. I'll tell you right up front, especially in the Muslim community. And I'll say also in other cultures that are coming in illegally. In other words, it's more predominant in the Muslim, and it started under Obama. Remember when Obama brought all the Somalians and Muslims in under humanitarian causes? Okay, basically he opened the doors too. And what do we see now? We see no-go zones in places like Dearborn, Michigan.
Exactly.
That are 100% Muslim, and anybody that's not Muslim dare not go in there.
Yeah,
Cops don't even go in there.
They don't. They warn you not to go in there.
Yeah.
And
So
go ahead. Another thing we need to get very, very clear is for all people that call you, if you don't like, you say, "Oh, I'm anti-Muslims." Muslims is not a race. There's black, white, every race of people have been Muslims. It's their ideology that people don't like.
Mm-hmm. And I'll go so far as to say it's not even a religion.
Mm-mm.
It's an ideology.
That's exactly what it is.
So, and you know, the other thing that is, and again, I'm not an authority on the Quran, but doesn't it say in there somewhere, Fred, that in the Quran that is acceptable for Muslims to lie,
yes,
in order and to deceive in order to
accomplish
get their agenda through, or to deceive infidels?
Exactly. It does say that they're allowed to lie. I even heard that from a Muslim priest himself saying it in an interview. Yes, we can lie to accomplish our goals for Allah. They can lie. Yeah. It's okay.
Yep. Same way with us, Diane. I never did learn the Italian language. As a matter of fact, my mother only spoke Italian until she got to kindergarten and had to learn English real quick. But you're right. They had to learn English and they had to assimilate. Yep. Mick's the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I knew a girl that who was Italian who her family came, but they came legally. But because she could speak multiple languages, she got a job in the military for intelligence because she can speak several languages.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a language. I tried to learn French, got through several months of it. It's just so hard for me. So I'm just going to stick with English.
Me too.
But really, I'm really looking at this as an invasion. And I'll go as far as to say, especially the illegal immigration. I'm all for, since my grandparents and actually many generations before that, you can trace, as a matter of fact, our family tree of the Tingley family goes back to 1600 when the first one came over from England. So obviously, unless you're Native American, every single person living in this country their family were immigrants at one point or another. Mm-hmm. But, you know, they came early on to build a better country, to build a country. And then later on, like as Diane said, and Mick said, is, you know, our grandparents, our ancestors came in and assimilated. Yes, they were Italians. Yes, they were Irish. Yes, they were, you know, Russian even. But they came and they became Americans.
Right. Exactly.
And they adopted the American way of life, and they adopted American ideals. And, you know, when they became naturalized citizens, they had to go through, you know, they had to go through classes to learn about the country, but they had to denounce their country of origin and pledge their allegiance to the United States of America. And what do they do then? Let me ask you, I don't have school age kids, so maybe somebody can answer this for me that has school age kids, or I got school age grandkids still. But do they say the Pledge of Allegiance in schools anymore?
I don't think they do, but I'm not sure. You'd have to get school age person to answer that one.
Yeah. Does anybody online listening, do they know? Because even when we were in school, again, it's 100 years ago, but we said the Pledge of Allegiance
every day. We used to say it every morning. Some schools do, Tom says.
Yeah, some schools do.
And that's probably more of your private schools and your Christian schools still do it, but I don't know about public schools.
Yes. So again, the whole thing is that it was an intentional invasion. Obama opened the borders to the Somalians and some other select countries, Libya and a few others. And then Biden it wasn't Biden. We all know he was brain dead anyway. The people that were handling him opened the doors to this country and let 20 million, by some estimates, flow in and invade our country.
Mm-hmm.
So, in many of them obviously were Muslims. So,
right.
So let me ask you this, your opinion on this, and anybody listening too. We all know that the President of the United States has to be a naturally born American citizen. Right. They cannot be a naturalized citizen from another country. They have to be. So my comment here, I think any elected official, I don't care if it goes down to the mayor of the city of Bradford or somebody on the city council, or any congressman, any state representative, any federal representative, any elected official, it's my opinion, should be a naturally born citizen of the United States of America. What's your thought?
I agree 100%.
If it's good enough for the presidency, why would anybody argue about any of the other offices? It doesn't make. Tell me, I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
I think it should be required for all of them.
Yeah, and especially again, look at the guy in Michigan, the El Sadar. I don't know, El something or other, El Sadar or something, just got the Democrat projected to win the Democratic primary in his district in Michigan.
Yeah, and a lot of these people get in there through sympathy, and I hate to tell you guys, sympathy's a sin. And Ilhan Omar coming out of that whole Somalia situation, people were sympathetic to her cause to put her in office. But sympathy's a sin, and the Bible's very clear about it. So that's how she got her position, man.
Well, and I'll tell you what, you should not have. You can take that Ilhan Omar. She actually says she supports Somalia over the United States.
Yes, she does.
She's come out publicly and said that. If anybody that is an elected office in this country, and again, it goes right from the local all the way up to the presidency, has to swear an oath to the United States of America that you will defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And Tom, to you as a veteran, and I don't know anybody else that's a veteran on here, you make that same oath when you're sworn into the military. But yet you allow people to come into this country, just like Mondummy from New York City. He comes in, he's only been in this country for 8 years or 10 years, 12, I don't know. It's not very long. How many?
I think they discovered he's only been here 6. He lied.
Right. So he came in, became a citizen. All of a sudden, he's mayor of the biggest city in the country, and he's trying to turn it into a socialist community. But as well as I do, Fred, his underlying purpose is to impose his Muslim faith in that city. He's just using socialism as a tool.
I agree with you. That's what Tom is saying. That's what my buddy says too all the time. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, Tom, you're right. They should have knowledge. And quite frankly, just by listening to some of these elected officials making their sound bites on TV and on radio and so on, they don't understand the Constitution. Number one, the first glaring, and this goes on both sides of the aisle, Republican, Democrat, and I want to go reach through the TV and slap them up alongside the head, because they don't know that we are not a democracy.
Right.
They always, these elected officials say, we're a democracy. We're standing up for democracy. Well, get your head out of your butt, because we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. And that's their first failing. That tells me right there they don't know.
But the thing about it is they got the students chirping that same garbage now already. And what Tom said right there is the same thing. I don't know about any other service, but now that I know that Tom says it, my buddy is a Marine, and he'll tell you straight up, once a Marine, always a Marine till the day I die.
Yeah. Like I say, I've said it on this show before, and I don't make excuses. I tried to join the military right out of high school, and they 4F'd me because I had too much hardware in my left arm. So, it's one of the things I always wished I could do, but I couldn't. So my hat's off to anybody that serves. But, where was I going with this? So anyways, invasion. And what you're getting people that are, well, all right, there's three branches of government. Number one, the judicial branch has way usurped its authority. But how did all of these woke judges get on the benches and start ruling against the Constitution and making everything soft on the illegal immigrants and the criminals?
Because
you can commit murder and be let off without bail,
aka Dr. Fauci.
Well, that's a whole nother story altogether. But let's just, on this last topic, just take the judges and the fact that they let criminals out without bail. They don't enforce immigration laws. As a matter of fact, they go against them.
Even
our elected officials who are sworn to uphold the Constitution are saying that illegals are perfectly able to come into this country illegally. They can vote. They can get a driver's license, social security number. They can basically be a citizen of this country, but still be illegal.
Exactly.
Let me think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Fred, but isn't illegal, just the idea, the term illegal means you're breaking the law.
Exactly. 100%.
If you've done something illegally,
you broke the law.
Doesn't that make you a criminal?
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay. So if that's the case, then why do even Republicans, they always, these DACA people that came here for a better life and we should just embrace them. We don't care if they came in illegally. They come in, they're working and they're paying they've been here for 20 years, for gosh sakes. Let them in, leave them alone, give them a fast track to citizenship. Well, that's crap too, because the very first thing you got to say is, if they came into this country illegally, they're a freaking criminal.
Exactly.
So why give them all the benefits? Why give them a fast track to citizenship if they're already, just by virtue of being here, breaking the law?
They've already broke the law, so there's no reason to even give them any case, any trial. You broke the law when you came in.
Yeah.
The way you came in.
I'm going to put this up here. They're showing now, Randy Barber, one of our frequent guests and a election integrity advocate, they're starting to prove now that Mondummy didn't even get elected. It was another stolen election. Votes were fabricated to get him elected.
Of course.
So anyway,
that's the same thing I think that's happened with these judges. I believe they got judges in based on you're going to do what we say, or you're not going to get in office.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Here's another point to Christie's point here. How many district attorneys and judges have got their positions by the likes of George Soros and all his money?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Is all by, yes, you're right, Diane. It's 100%. It's meant to destroy this country from the inside out. We have a rot in this country. Have you ever seen, this is an analogy, maybe it's appropriate or not, but have you ever had a nice baking potato, nice looking baking potato? Oh, this is going to be good. You bake it and you put it on your plate and you cut it in half, only to find out the inside is rotten.
Oh,
you can't eat it.
You can't eat it.
All right. So what's happening to our country? We're letting all this stuff in, and we still look all nice and shiny on the outside, and those that aren't awake, or the woke people that that want this to happen, they say, oh, America's great, everybody wants to be American. Well, what you're doing is you're creating rot from the inside, and sooner or later it's going to take over and it's going to destroy the entire country. So that's segue. It's getting late already. You mentioned Fauci. You brought up the F word. But it's a 5-letter F word. It's not a 4-letter F word. The Fauci, evil personified. Yeah, I think, and I won't spend a lot of time on this because it's been hashed on social media to death. But it was bad enough that he pleaded the fifth 111 times, but I think he insulted every American citizen in this country.
He did.
First of all, it's proven that he lied all through his tenure, all through his career, even going back to when he was working on the AIDS pandemic, because what he was doing was actually creating more AIDS, immune deficiency syndrome. And so he has been an, for lack of a better term, an evil scientist since he probably got his degree, and probably before that. But he actually, his presence at that hearing was a farce. He acted like a spoiled little child, and he was an insult to every law-abiding citizen in this country. And I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, black, white, purple. I don't care who you are. If you're a law-abiding citizen of this country, Fauci laughed right in your face.
He did, and had fun.
I'm above the law. That's what he just told everybody. I'm above the law, and you don't have any right to question me about it.
And the reason why he's keeping his mouth shut is because he knows if he actually tells what he has to tell, then he endangers other people who didn't get that auto pen.
Oh yeah,
that's why he's really keeping his mouth shut.
If those pardons were auto pen, they shouldn't even be. They were not legal.
They were auto pen. They were done in the last 24 hours of Biden's presidency. All auto pen.
So why don't we have? And I'm going to throw this back on my Republican party.
Oh, here we go. That's
why don't we have people? Why hasn't Trump taken those away? Why don't we have some legal action to remove those pardons from all of them?
He just proposed that all of the auto pen signings be removed, every one of them, but they're still fighting it.
But but he proposed. What is it going to take to go from proposal to getting it done?
I think it. I don't know if he. I don't know if he can do it. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, can the legislature? Can the judiciary?
Yeah.
Can the Supreme Court?
I would think that the Supreme Court could.
Well, let's face it. If something is done illegally, there has to be a method to correct it.
I agree.
Tell me what the hell that method is and do it.
I agree.
Yeah, Mick made a comment. Gates is also, because he was Gates is a different kind of evil. I think he's a demon, but I think he's a demon that is just trying to make himself a trillionaire, and I think a lot of these. Do you remember the Bible story where Jesus cast out the demons and they said, throw us into these pigs or whatever, and they went into the pigs and the pigs jumped in the ocean or the sea or whatever. Well,
I am legion because I am many. That's what that demon said.
So if demons existed in biblical times,
they exist today.
They didn't go away.
No,
they just went. I honestly, I think many of the people that are doing the things that are happening in this world today are demons.
100%.
They're in human clothing. They are. I mean, and I think there's a difference. I'm not a theologian, but so don't criticize me here. You can agree or disagree. There's a difference between being demon possessed and actually being a demon. Mm-hmm. And the demons were the fallen angels that came down with Lucifer when they rebelled against God. Mm-hmm. And I think the likes of the George Soroses, mm-hmm. Bill Gates, you can probably name another dozen more that are like that in this world.
I'm sorry.
What was that? What did you say?
I said the Clintons. I said that.
Oh, yeah. No. That you can go all the way back to that too. And I won't try to differentiate. They could be demons in human clothing, or they could be demon possessed. But I think it goes back to the idea that it's a spiritual war. And
go ahead.
We got to fight with the spiritual weapons. But yeah, you're right there, Tom. The Fifth Amendment. Think about it. The Fifth Amendment gives you the ability to not self-incriminate.
Right.
So basically what you're saying is I refuse the answer because anything I say will make me look guilty.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the crazy thing about it is if it was a true immunity, he could say whatever he wants and nothing could happen. But I still think because he's bought and paid for, he's protecting other people. So he's not going to tell you anything. So therefore, his immunity should be revoked.
Oh, absolutely. I think it shouldn't be there to begin with.
Right.
Did you know, I'm just going to go this last thing on Fauci before we move on. You want to know how evil this person is? He oversaw a lab, and it was by his, I don't know if he designed the experiments or whatever, but he was responsible for the lab that took beagles. You know what an animal lover I am, Fred. I got crazy dogs living in my house right now. Mm-hmm. He took beagles, had their vocal cords removed, their whatever they have, like our equivalent to our vocal cords, so they could not bark or utter a sound. And then had their heads put into a cage enclosed. So they couldn't move, they couldn't get out, but their heads. And inside that cage was mosquitoes and other insects that basically ate them alive in there. And they did it in the name of science.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, I think just for that level of cruelty, anybody, I'm not a big believer 100% in an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But I think anybody that participated in that level of cruelty should have the same exact thing done to them. And I'm talking about Fauci, and I'm talking about all the lab people that participated in that. They should
more than that. He also attempted to change the sex of a bunch of dogs, to change them from female dogs to male dogs, to prove that he could do it, so that he could do it on people.
Yeah. Well, it's 9:57. Boy, this hour went quick. I still wanted to talk about voter fraud and bringing back capital punishment. But we're going to run out of time here. And I know in 2.5 minutes, our Bradford TV feed is going to, we're up against a hard break there. So for those that are watching us on Bradford TV through OBBMnetwork.tv, thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed being a little politically incorrect with us, but join us again next week. But we can take a couple more minutes here. But is there anything in the topics there that I missed, Fred, that you want to make sure we say before we sign off?
The only thing I was going to hit was the voter fraud idea that the one senator came up with, that we should tag people's identification to every ID mail-in ballot. If the mail-in ballots can't go away, then your ID should be a tag to that voter thing to know exactly who put that vote in, so that there's no way you can just come in and drop 10 in without registering it with your ID. All your mail-in ballots be connected to the ID of the person who brings it in. Therefore, you know exactly who that person is who's bringing those ballots in.
You know what worries me about voter ID, though, and I'm all for it. I think you should have to prove you're a citizen of this country in order to vote. Whether that's a birth certificate, when you register, whether it's a driver's license, because illegals can get driver's license now.
Yeah, but you're a personal.
But when you register to vote, you should have some proof that you're a U.S. citizen.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have that proof, you can't be registered, or you're taken off the rolls and you can't vote. But what worries me about it is they're going to use something like Real ID.
No, I don't like that idea at all.
And they're going to make everybody get another form of identification that will put us in the system. We were already in the system. I won't fly anymore because I don't have a Real ID. I won't get one. I'm sorry. The government knows nothing about me as it is. I just refuse to be part of that. So, yeah. I'm not even sure, Mick.
That would work.
That would maybe be one thing, but they would say, "Oh, it's too difficult, and you got to pay for the notary and all that." How about just get rid of mail-in ballots? Period.
Yeah, you're right.
So Christy, if you can't find your birth certificate, you can apply. You can go through the state.
I lost mine.
The state you were born, which I know is Pennsylvania. State you were born, you can get a duplicate, and it's legal.
I had to do that when I came to PA. I lost my birth certificate, got another one within a week.
Yeah. So the voter fraud, we got to get rid of mail-in ballots. Oh, which all right, I'm going to bring it. I usually bring this up at the on my local edge, and just a plug for local edge tonight, 7:00. And it's only available now because I can broadcast to the local edge Facebook page. You only can watch it on the local edge, or not edge, local angle. I don't know why I keep saying that edge. The local angle on Facebook will be talking about the voter fraud tonight, but we're going to I'm trying to get a petition going in McKean County, and I've mentioned it on that podcast before. The petition is to get a referendum on the ballot in November to get rid of voting machines in McKean County. All right. All electronic voting systems in McKean County. I found out you can do it by county. You can even do it by municipality, like Bradford could do it. But I'm going the county level. So I've got a petition being circulated. I need 1,000 signatures on it. It's only for McKean County. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, as long as you're registered to vote, you can sign this petition. And I don't have a copy right here in front of me, but the question that will go on the ballot is, do you want to have eliminated all electronic voting systems in the county, whether it be the machines or the electronic tabulation devices at the courthouse, where they scan the mail-in ballots and the paper ballots, because those can be manipulated too electronically. So if you agree with that, or if you even if you're not sure, if you think that the voters of McKean County should have a say in how they cast their vote, then get a hold of me. If you want to circulate a petition for me, wonderful. Let me know. Even if we got 100 people getting 10 signatures only, there's our 1,000 signatures we need to get this on the ballot in November. So if there's any way you can help, reach out to me. If you just want to sign the petition, let me know. I'll get one in your hand so you can sign it. So that's the last thing I'll say about voters fraud. But Fred, any last comments before we close out?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. Well, you are our prayer warrior. You are our official prayer person for this podcast. Fred, would you close us out in prayer, my friend?
Oh, Mike put on here, you got to pay $45 to fly if you don't have real ID, but I have my passport and I've never had to pay. So just an idea. Anyway, so let's get past that. Okay.
All
right. Thank you, Lord, for this day and for this time, Lord. I pray, Lord, that you would give your people spiritual boldness, Lord. I think the only reason that the enemy's making moves is because they're being bold, and we're sitting back watching it. Lord, I ask you give the people of God boldness to stand up and stand for truth. And if you're worried about losing your job, worry about your salvation more. I ask, Lord, that you would bless us, give us wisdom, give us understanding, and give us a plan to do the right thing in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. This is always fun for me. It's a good discussion. And I just love being politically correct. So this was especially fun for me today. Said a lot of things that would normally make my wife cringe. So, hopefully she won't watch this episode. But appreciate you all being here and coming every week. We enjoy seeing you on here and all your comments, because this is as much about you as it is about us. This is your podcast too. You can make comments. You can be part of this. So thanks. We will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat station. And for now, wherever you are, wherever you're watching us from, hope you're having a wonderful day. Want you to be blessed
and be a blessing to others.
And we'll see you next week.